6 to Mini to K100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly.
We are ready. It's time to go racing here from Daytona International Speedway, the inaugural U.S. Pro Kart Series Daytona Super GP, kicking things off with Micro Swift. 34 drivers deep here this weekend, and here's a quick look at how they'll line up for this 22-lap main event. Ready racing throughout the entirety of the rest of the day, folks. Main events on deck, of course, and it'll be 25 for the Pro Division X30 Pro Senior lined up at the end, but they're going to run one after another. Back-to-back action, kicking things off with the youngest superstars. It will not happen on the first try by, so we will have to send them around again and take a look at it. It does give us a moment, of course, to bring you up to speed with the proper look at the starting lineup. How about the weekend so far for Marcelo Flores on that J. Howard Driver Development, Kart Republic, and Lennox Lockhart as well. Alex, Heat 3 yesterday really took the lineup and threw it in a blender. Leo Simone dominated. He's back on row 4.
Yeah, back there we got the likes of Hudson Howard, Slate Harrell there, road number 2, Andrew Anastasia, Alvaro Medeiros, road number 3, Leo Simone, Bernardo Guber, a driver that has got involved in at least one incident yesterday in those 3 heat races. He's a driver that's super quick here around Daytona. Dutch Westbrook has had some great heat races to put himself inside of road number 5 alongside Liani Schiavo. The rest of the grid goes through much slower than last time here for Marcelo Flores. Hopefully with the green this time around. Lights out. Green flag is waving here. Good start for Marcelo. Blows the apex there. Turn number 1. A couple around. Collecting, I believe, Bernardo Guber and a couple of the Sodis.
Oh, it's a big stack up. There's a ton of them stacked in turn number 1. That is going to be at least Dominic Nagel there in the Bennett. Was easy to pick out of the 52. Probably a good amount of your top contenders. Who got away clean? Your top qualifier there just flurried by. That's Alvaro Medeiros in the number 15 Orsolone entry. So he got away good. Obviously, Marcelo did as well. But a chaotic start once again plagues the micros, just as we saw with them yesterday afternoon. And looks like Hudson Howard got away safe. I believe Lennox Lockhart did. The first couple are safely through the start. And so down to turn number 1 we go. Lockhart into 3rd, dropping down the board. Andrew Anastasia, one of the many involved. Bernardo Guber, Gianni Chavo collected there in turn number 1 as they fall down the leaderboard. Logan Arteta was the Sodi that was collected. And we may have had Grayson Knifick, I think, in that as well. So a huge bummer for a ton of the young guns trying to race their way through turn number 1. A heartbreaker for sure as we watch them work their way down the back straightaway.
Something that I'm noticing here, I mean, I know I was at the scale line most of this morning doing the morning show, so getting a chance to really visually see the go-karts roll around this place, it's a little bit slicker than it was yesterday. Seeing Leo Simone get way all sorts out of shape through the braking zone at turn number 1, and naturally when you have a 22-lap main, you're going to set the tire pressures lower, so it's going to be a little bit slicker as Jack Katowski there tries to make a move on George Ho. Couldn't make it stick through turn number 4, but definitely a slicker racetrack. I know some of the drivers are saying it's a little bit, slicker out there. This track builds up dew in the morning. I know it was really humid this morning, and so these drivers are really the first to go out there and rip 22 laps around this place, and they're a little bit more active on the wheel, I'd say, than I saw them yesterday.
Down the backstretch, our first lead change on the day is going to get a bit hairy there in that last corner. Hudson Howard
Look at the
saw
dirt.
Lennox Lockhart going by, and then he got put, I don't even know if he dropped a tire, Alex, but it was so dusty at corner exit all out in the marbles where he was.
Yeah, because it's so windy. It's a headwind onto 11, and what that does is also push the dirt on the exit of 11 onto the racetrack, and I think some of the X30 senior guys were using more racetrack than that's provided to them by the tarmac. So, again, super dusty. We talked about it all day yesterday. A couple of corners, just like the exit of 11, provide that sort of difficulty for these drivers. And now Lennox Lockhart, a driver that saw the lead for the first time in heat number 3 yesterday and walked away with it, he's looking to do more of the same. And we can't fail to mention Lockhart versus Flores. These have been the two headline drivers, no matter how it all shapes out, that have led the field in each of the mains so far this year in this class when it comes down to it. You can't forget, Lennox led all of the first round of Speedway Winter Series. Marcelo got the better of him on the final lap. These two actually got together, unfortunately, in round 4 of the Speedway Winter Series. So, again, it's all love for these two. They're all friends off the racetrack, but Lennox would love to put one on the JHTD driver.
And it would also be, of course, his first major win. That would be huge for his confidence, right, Alex? I mean, this kid's come along so well, and now we're basically 1 year removed from his national debut, leading laps once again. He could very easily be one of the kids we're talking about this year. I want to also throw in that mix, though, Slate Harrell in the number 88. The Nitro Kart leading this 3-pack here, back in 3rd, has spent more weekends than not running as an independent, a father-son duo to my knowledge. Slate's been fast this week. However, all 3 of them cannot seem to really kind of get in sync. Last time by, they lost about 2/10 to Marcelo and Lennox. And you can see it's not for a lack of trying. Leo Simone is all over the number 88. He just can't seem to time the run, I think, to get to the bumper well. He kind of got into him and almost knocked him loose there back in turn 1.
Well, that's what I've been touching on, right, with the setups. I mean, especially with these smaller chassis, smaller classes, low horsepower, it's really tough to get the gearing right. And sometimes we always joke around. I know when I coach a lot of the young kids, you know, how was the go-kart? Oh, it was good. And then you watch it, it's like, no, you're actually struggling out of the corners, bud. And so for the mechanics, it's a lot of work to really see what they need. As Hudson Howard's going to go through on Leo Simone, he kind of almost opened the door and let him by. I don't think he meant to do that, but again, open up for turn number 1. It's been a strong weekend for JHTD. I mean, we got a 2nd, a 4th, and a 5th right now, and I think at this point, Leo couldn't get behind Slate, like you mentioned. Hudson said, you know what, let me give it a shot. I think I got more straightaway speed here. And you see him give the point to Marcelo, saying, I'm going to try to go through here soon.
Let's take a look at some of the big movers so far. How about up 10 spots for a big morning wake-up call for Jack Katowski on that Trinity Karting Group Bureau Art back in 9th. Brody Stoffel on the JHTD Kart Republic also up 6 to get to 10th there as they trade the 3rd spot with Hudson going by on Slate Harrell. And a few more movers a little bit further back, all up a good amount. How about Brody Brown from tail end of the field there from 24th to 10th, up 11 for Max Santana. Well, 10 now as Franco Schiavo gets around him. Again, the big mover of our major contenders up front from 19th still, Jack Katowski with more that he could get, at least one more in the form of George Ho. I don't know if he'll be able to get a ton more, but here he goes on the number 5. And that'll be 11 spots gained for Jack Katowski and Trinity Karting Group.
Here's where this race gets really fun. Flores, at this stage, slightly faster than Lockhart. It's what we've come to expect to see, right? The driver in 2nd, faster than the driver in front. Can they get around him? Further back, you look at 7th place. Dutch Westbrook, purple last time by. No one faster than him as we got a battle for 4th there. Simone around Slate Harrell. But Dutch Westbrook up to 6th. Lost some ground that lap, making the pass on Alvaro Medeiros. But Dutch had a rough qualifying. He had a really bad happy hour, actually, knocking the front left toe out. Had to start qualifying towards the tail end, had to drive his way through qualifying, and anytime you make a pass around this place, you don't qualify very well. Worked his way through the 3 heats methodically, put himself in the top 10 starting spot for the final, and the pace is there for the Bennick. And I gotta say, Harrell and Simone are cashing that lead group. If this becomes a 5-kart train for the lead, and they start fighting, that driver right there who's starting to close in, Dutch Westbrook in the 33 is coming.
Yeah, Dutch Westbrook was purple up until that previous lap, and he was only beaten by a couple hundredths, and that was by Hudson Howard, who knocked off 3/10 of the lead and now has joined that main group. But answering right back, another major lap time out of Dutch Westbrook, and more impressively for Dutch to be running those laps, Alex, than Hudson, because Hudson's got that massive slipstream off the 2 liters. Dutch is all by himself. No man's land right now for the DFW Texas-based driver, and he is marching. 2.6 seconds back last time by. It is just a matter of time, and not an if, but a when. That number 33, blue and orange, arrives on the scene. We've got already 5 in the main group here. I think we could have 6, and it could end up being more as we trade the 4th spot again down in turn 1.
Well, if you want to wonder how long these main events are, the heats yesterday were 12 laps. There's 12 laps to go in this main event. So basically, these drivers got to do another heat race as Lockhart goes wide in 5. Look for the setup here from Marcelo Flores. Hudson Howard looking over his shoulder. At this point, that 49 machine, I think, is the quickest of the top 3. As we've come to expect, though, one thing's catching, another thing is passing. And at some point, I wonder if you're Flores, and I wonder how far advanced these kids start to think ahead in these races. Do you let Hudson Howard go? Do you let him try to chase after Lennox? Or if you're Marcelo, do you kind of say, no, I've been the one that's fastest all weekend long. I want to take the charge to Lennox Lockhart here. Opening up for turn number 1. Slightly tighter line there for Lennox. I think he's starting to realize that these 2 JHDs are a little bit faster than that Sodi at this stage in the race.
I think even Dutch Westbrook may be only one of many to catch this group here with the way that every lap keeps looking. Lennox Lockhart, Hudson Howard, Marcelo Flores, they're going to trade that lead down there in the back sector. I think just as much, though, lappers going off that close. Again, that's lap traffic that just went by. Then that 5-pack is the leaders. So we are seeing quite a bit of Clag getting kind of put back on the line, and the leaders have to then clear a path. And so if you're 3rd, 4th, 5th, or especially if you're 6th and 7th, and you've got the ability to go as deep as you want to into the corner with the 5 cars in front of you kind of, you know, making a clean racing line, you can go really fast. And Alvaro Medeiros has been going good enough to make up some ground.
Yeah, Dutch dropped it at the exit of turn number 10 and lost that spot to Alvaro.
Yeah. And now he's got to go back to work, so maybe, again, it wasn't a clear enough path, but this will widen that group a little bit. 2 by 2 through the bus stop to shake everything up for that main pack. So Marcelo is going to get the biggest lead of the day with another move there in the final corner. Hudson Howard into 2nd. What's the delta going to be with 13 down? It'll be 6/10 to run back up. Still manageable, and yellow flags waving as another driver's gone off in front of the leaders.
So now if you're Lennox, do you push Hudson Howard back to his teammate Marcelo, or do you go around him here?
I
at
don't
this
think
point,
you got a choice, right? You got to go with him.
Yeah, and further back, we have Leo Simone, who I think he shot out of the race pretty quick, and then since then has just fallen back. Slate Harrell's been a little bit quicker than him at this point, and you mentioned it. While Leo might want to get around Slate and catch his buddy, Lennox Lockhart, they both are down there in Miami, Florida. I think he has no choice but to push Slate as well, but up front, it's starting to fan out. We're starting to see some daylight in between those front bumpers for the first time in 14 laps. So now Flores has a bit of breathing room. Lennox closes up to Hudson Howard right at the end of the straightaway. That kind of tells me that the gearing is a little bit taller for that Sodi. That's something to note for later on in this race, and we start seeing moves at the end of the straights.
Looking at the gap back from that Sodi too. Leo Simone in the 95, about as hot and cold as you can go. Last time by a 43.606. Alex, that was 0.8 off his previous best time. Obviously, Slate Harrell and him had gotten side by side. It was a mistake for Slate as well. We've heard from even the best drivers here, the pros, talking about how difficult this racetrack is, how easy it is to slip up, how you've got to drive so far under the limit to make it around this place. It's no surprise at all that with a damp kind of morning and with a dirty racetrack that everybody all the way to the front of the pack in Micro Swift are struggling to put consistent lap times together because the surface is changing pretty much like a wet race. And now Marcelo Flores is just dancing with disaster. He was sideways through turn 1. He was sideways and kicking up dirt through turn 3. He'll have to clean the tires off for the rest of this lap, and it's going to allow these two on screen, Lennox Lockhart and Hudson Howard, to get a huge gap back to 3rd.
Well, with the looming weather that we have and the wind overnight, this track got a lot of dew on it overnight, and so if you look at the racetrack, it's got just one big shine on it. We're finally getting that racing line back from what we saw throughout the weekend. I mean, lap time wise, it's not far off from the heats and the qualifying, but it looks like it's just slicker out there for these young kids.
Yeah, I think that's going to be probably even more critical for them than who they work with or what moves they make at what time right now. It's just a matter of not being the one to make a mistake. And in that case, it almost pays off to be the second or third driver in line in the lead group because you're not the one flying blind into the brake zone. Hudson Howard, he's in a guessing game every lap, trying to make sure that he looks far enough ahead and can pick up any slight differences in color or texture of the surface before he gets there. So in racing, all these kids are trained to look ahead, to look into the corner, look before where you're going to go, not where you're at currently, so you can anticipate it and prepare for it. And I think right now that's being put to the test. Kudos to Hudson Howard. Chip off the old block right now with about 5 laps to go. He has not yet wavered or shown any bit of weakness here to Lockhart or the rest of the drivers trying to hunt them back down here as we follow along his teammates in Flores and Simone back in 3rd and 4th.
Let's see what the approach is now for Lockhart because with 4 to go, as much as maybe you want to pass and maybe you are quicker, right now it looks like Hudson Howard is good enough onto the back straightaway so he doesn't have to worry about Lennox making a move. But you want to make this as small of a race for you as possible. So if you're Lockhart, you want to push Hudson Howard away, even though it's not your teammate, because those two behind him, Flores and Simone, we know how fast they are around this place. You don't want to give them a chance to go out there and catch you as Dutch Westbrook basically opens up the corner and invites Brody Stoffel right on by.
And Brody Stoffel, I could have sworn was one of the drivers involved in that turn 1 incident also. The number 29 is marching back towards the front of the field. He started deep, so he's showing as he was gridded 16th, but I think he even got kind of held up in the first turn, and that impeded the progress. Kudos to him here. He has been extremely fast the last few laps. He's driven his way well inside the top 10. He's probably a bit far to reach that red and black nitro car to Slate Harrell before this one's done, but a good drive here for Brody Stoffel. And his teammate, well, his teammates up front right now are getting ready to battle for the win and that final spot on the podium. Pairs of 2 here, Alex. 2.5 laps remain. Hudson Howard trying to get another national win and build on his momentum through this Florida stretch. Lennox Lockhart looking for his first national win here at Daytona. Both of them, I think it would be the first time either one maybe has raced on this surface, and not only that, the first time that they could win here. Let's see it.
Rounding turn number 11, we're going to see 2 laps to go for these young kids. I've been trying to see where Lennox can go out there and make a move, and it's not there. You don't want to drop a tire exiting 11, especially with 2 to go. And so for Lennox Lockhart, he's going to have to get back to work, get the dust off those tires, and really put your head forward. Hudson's going to help him out here, though. Went slightly low entering 4, open up the corner. What that does is, though, it shortens the radius. It ruined his exit. Lennox back on the bumper now.
And he did the same in turn 1. You saw Lennox be able to get a little bit of a narrower exit, but that's because he had such a nice arc going into turn 1 also. But through the bus stop here, there's no passing really opportunity, especially now with how fast that section is. And even with the dew, even with it all, that section still looks like it's got a lot of grip. But the brake zones and the last turn are a little bit sketchy. Lennox, did he get it done and stay on the track? He did. Hudson Howard behind. Red flag in the air. And that will call it a lap prior as we've got a driver that has gone up and over right in front of your leaders here out of turn number, it looks to be the 46, one of the Chavo twins. I believe that'd be Franco Chavo and Lennox Lockhart. Right as he made the move for the race win, it will go back 1 lap prior. And if it does end this way, which I would imagine that it will, knowing all the conditions, it would go back to the end of lap number 20 with Hudson Howard on top of the board. A heartbreak end. First, though, we want to make sure that we do have Franco Chavo an update on him. We're going to stay quiet on comms here for you all and give you updates as we receive them. But I believe that looked to be the 46. I'm going to wait for confirmation. That just was a quick check on our end from that overturned go-kart out of turns 2 and 3. We're going to take a quick break here, folks. We'll be right back.
Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this Brandon business, okay? Brandon this, Brandon that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats. They got MXCs. And if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental US over $200, that's free shipping.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there?
Dude, I'm doing a commercial.
Dude, we have no time. It's about to start.
Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR?
MXC rims.
All the way up to the finish line. Who is it going to be? And it's Sean Perez who wins in Crescent.
Ty Fisher wins $1,000 in KA100 Junior.
Alex Stanfield played it perfectly here. Told him to wait. Stanfield wins the Duffy in 2024 for TV Kart.
Amarillo Kart Complex is now the official distributor for TV Kart in the continental U.S. Become a dealer today.
Ready to elevate your racing game? Introducing Apex, your 24/7 personal karting coach. Apex is your ultimate racing companion. Get expert advice anytime, anywhere. From setup tips to mental strategies, Apex has you covered. Fine-tune your car for peak performance. Get personalized advice on adjustments like tire pressure and chassis settings. Apex helps you master the track, from overtaking strategies to wet weather driving techniques, and to resilience to perform under pressure. Apex keeps you focused, confident, and race ready.
Using Apex is simple. Sign up, ask your question, and receive instant advice from top-tier coaches. With Apex, your personal karting coach, you're never alone. Get instant expert advice on everything from setup to technique. Unlock your full potential with Apex. Your journey to victory starts here. Happy racing.
Back here as we've got the drivers into pit lane for the Micro Swift division, and it looks like that's going to call it. So that'll put us back to one lap prior from when we were coming to the line. The last lap with all drivers completed. So Hudson Howard has been announced as your provisional race winner. And, well, Caleb is down here in the scales. We can see Hudson's got his helmet off. Caleb, down to you.
Hudson, a wild last lap, but you're a race winner again on the national scene. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. You know, I think that red flag saved me, but, you know, all credit to Lennox, me, and help. So, you know, I got lucky, but we'll take a win no matter what.
Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank my dad, my mom, my whole family, Kekai, my engineer, for giving me and I would like to thank Wilcher for giving me one of the best engines I've ever had.
There you go. Congrats. There's Hudson Howard, your race winner here, the first race winner at the Daytona Super GP. Back to you, Xander.
Thank you, Caleb. As we can see here down on the grid, there is going to be a little quick powwow from the USPKS officials before the KA juniors get underway. There's a lot of them, and they are indeed checking out Franco Schiavo. We'll have an update when we can get it, but congratulations to Hudson Howard, and thanks to Caleb for keeping us informed down at the scale area with that race called 2 laps early. So KA Junior, looks like a quick meeting here of the minds before they roll off.